Have you never had anyone here just for you? Has it always been to use you or to put you down or to step over you or to... I think that's how she got to him. Like a typical narcissist who had an objective in mind and was going to achieve it by any means necessary. It's like I hear all the time from friends or friends of friends or family, like, well, you have to give her one thing, how brilliant she is. I'm like, she's not brilliant at all. They're like, well, what do you mean? She got everything she wanted. I'm like, did she? She didn't get anything she wanted. I said, if she was truly brilliant, everybody would be loving her. The majority would. She'd still be in the UK and have Hollywood deals. But she allowed her ego, her pride, her angst, her anger, her envy, all of that to get in the way.
Which leads to the next question. So she was welcomed into the royal family at first. It seemed she had a brilliant opportunity. How did it start to go wrong?
I think she thought she could tell everybody what to do, that it was like Hollywood. Okay, I'm married. I'm now part of this family. And I think the Queen set her straight. I think it was the Daily Beast that released the first tidbit 4 months ago when they had shared some of the comments that the Queen said that she realized that she was actually evil. I was like, Queen Elizabeth, a wise woman, had met heads of state, governed over the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth nations, knew the world. And you had basically a D-list actress who was trying to pull the wool over her eyes. It's not going to work. I think the Queen set her straight in saying, this is how the cow ate the cabbage, okay? We all have a responsibility, a duty to our citizenry, to the country, to the kingdom. You're either on board or you're not on board. I think that she tried to get away with everything. And I think the royal family in the beginning was like, they welcomed her with open arms, gave her the wedding that she wanted. And for me, the wedding is when everything changed.
Well, Samantha Marker told us that if the family had been invited to the wedding, the royals would have found out the truth about Meghan's life history. What do you think about Meghan not inviting her family members to the wedding?
Again, that was to me the trigger point that showed, it's like when the mask slipped. It's like she went from jazz hands to the face palm in one day, inviting Clooney, Idris Elba, all these stars that she didn't know. What does that show you? Did they know Harry? Of course they knew Prince Harry, but did he know them? No. She invited people who could only elevate them or elevate her status. That showed you that she placed end goals above quote unquote love and family. And then to do it for petty reasons. Weddings, funerals are the primary points when family who have arguments come together to make peace. So even she had any issues with any of her family members, that was the time to bring them there. Let's say again, a narcissist, someone who's manipulative like that, wants to be in control of the entire situation. They're like, wait a minute, how am I going to control what Samantha's going to say or my father's going to say? You can't, because you can't be with him every second.
So the mask dropped at the wedding. What was the sequence of events that led to them being where they are presently then? What was the sequence of disasters or bad events that led to the complete ostracization?
I think the rest of the world slowly, bit by bit, discovered who they were. I mean, when you start branding UK citizens as bigots after they openly embraced you, one day at a time. First, it was the British press. Oh, the press is coming after us. I'm like, did you ever see what Princess Catherine went through? The buses that were lined up calling her names day after day after day. Did anyone ever hear her complain? Did anyone ever hear her say, hey, UK citizens are X, Y, and Z or no. She's resilient because she has a true heart. That means it comes from true character, which means it's steadfast and strong, and she goes forward. This doesn't matter. I know who I am. I know who my family's going to be. Forward, always forward. That's why I always keep that at the end of every video, always forward. The Meghans, in my mind, are the type of people who, put lipstick on a pig. It doesn't change it. It's still a pig. But they want their cake and eat it too at every instance. There's never any compromise. Imagine the deal that they had brought to the royal family. We want to stay in the royal family as senior royals with HRH styles, but we want to be able to go cut deals and do the Hollywood things. Like, no, you can't do that. And immediately, what is it? We're out of here. But here's a point. What sickened me is during the Queen's illness, which, we've discovered after she passed away because she was sick in the last year. You also had Prince Philip before he passed away. So you have a grandmother at the core and a grandfather at the heart of it who were ill. Yet he was lumping this on their head. I would never do such a thing to my grandparents when they were, I wouldn't do it anyway, and I don't think anybody else would. But when they were sick, going, hey, I'd like this. I need a house. I need a deal. It's like they were in pain. What are you doing? But the Netflix deal that he signed was 6 months before the split. So he was already taking video. Again, that goes to motivation. That means they were planning this strategically, whether it was him or her or a combination of the two. That goes to who they are.
So there are many times when they've said things that have exposed them for what they are. One of my favorites is when she said she'd never Googled the royal family. Do you have any favorites, George?
Oh, yeah. When they were saying, her Oprah interview was one of the biggest ones, which we've seen, when she was saying, oh, I can't really tell you about that, but it was disgusting. When they're talking about, some members of the royal family were talking about what his skin color would be. I'm like, who doesn't talk about that? It is a normal conversation. Will he look more like Harry? Will he look more like his grandfather? Is he going to look more like your dad? That's normal. That is healthy. And it's a fun conversation when you're going to be having a kid. What are they going to look like? There are even games around there where people, they take pictures of each family. That's normal. So again, that was my favorite because it showed her. But the second favorite one would be the paparazzi Death Race 2000. Come on. It's like, come on. I think that is what undid them in America. As everybody, because she had a lot of support here. Because Americans on the whole, they don't like the title thing here. But they still have a very unique fondness. They have a love for our cousins in the UK across the pond, but they also have a very good degree of respect for the royal family. They're just not big with the titles. But when she and him did the whole Death Race 2000, I was like, whoa. Is everything they've been saying true? And then the way she went through the Hertz, remember the back entrance of the Hertz, matching its colors? I'm like, come on. Is she literally trying to pimp to get a Hertz deal? Because this is a person, when you review her life, that every decision is calculated. It's the same way with a Christian Dior, blaming, 2 weeks ago, blaming the royal family, letting it leak into the press that, they have a vendetta against us. This is why we lost the Christian Dior deal, because they started wearing Christian. I'm like, you never had a Christian Dior deal. In my opinion, they never had one. They kept talking about it in the press to, build some anticipation, to try to goad Christian Dior to do it, but they didn't have one. So no.
Yeah, I've got a 4-month-old baby here, and me and my partner were endlessly discussing the skin color and the eye color before you arrive with my pale skin and blue eyes and not her olive complexion and brown eyes. So it's definitely something that you focus on.
It's normal. Yeah, it's normal. Yeah. It's normal, Sean. Come on. And when someone can turn something normal to make it sound offensive, then there's nothing that they won't do. Again, she keeps revealing her character, and Harry does the same through his actions. I'll give you another example. They released their Archwell Foundation report a couple of weeks ago, right? So Harry, charity is my life. I put this clip in the video. Charity is my life. Why, really? You only worked 18 days last year. That includes the Invictus Games. For charity is your life. You don't take a $46,000 dinner date when you go, charity is my life, because someone who goes, I am dedicated to helping the public, I am dedicated to that, is going to think, I could spend $1,000 because I have the money. And the other $35,000 or $45,000, it can go to help people. It's just, there's this level of arrogance and silver spoon pampered hypocrisy that is part Hollywood, part arrogance, part ego, and part crazy California chicken coopers.